gang, this week's overview probably looks a little bit different than you're used to, and that's because there is no overview for the weekly topic. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But first up, let's wrap up last week's discussion. On screen, you see a pseudo word cloud composition based off of the comments that you made in the discussion about what's next. And I really appreciated the conversations that emerged and even the differing opinions that came out of the conversation. I saw some comments about access. I saw some comments about teaching practices and learner preferences. And then there was a general conversation about how we use technology and how others around us use technology or the technology we have access to. So I really appreciated the depth that you brought to the conversation. I definitely want to urge you to go back in. As always, I've provided a few follow-up comments. Some are relevant with respect to the access conversation. I share with you some information about upcoming projects that I know about that might help the access situation that we are facing with a growing digital divide in the country. And then just some of the other answers were either a question that somebody had or an idea that you're working on, and I chimed in to give you some more information. Now, the other discussion post that we had wasn't related to conversing about what do we think is coming, but more along the lines of a workshop for your final project. And while I didn't give you any specific feedback, mainly because you guys had some great points for one another, I did want to say that all of the ideas that were listed, I think, are worthy of consideration. You will have fantastic storyboards, and if you're still looking for an idea, try to hit close to home. You don't have to think big with this. You're not developing an app. You're simply working on what kind of activity might you implement in your current context that could use augmented reality, and how would that be designed? What would it look like? So keep that in mind as you work on your final project. And with that, let's take a look at this week's expectations. Use the on-screen navigation to access another section of this week's overview.